What's going on, guys? So some of you have been requesting a garage tour of the shop and sort of all of my junk that's hanging out here. So we're going to do that today. We're going to do like a brief overview. I'm going to sort of point out a bunch of stuff that I got basically. If you guys want me to do like a toolbox breakdown of all the tools that I have and use, I'll be more than happy to do that. We're not going to go into the details of every tool that I have here, just brief over some of them. So, alright, so we got Little Wing rolled out. We got the bucket pulled out too. I cannot wait to get that drop top running again. I got a bunch of parts sitting in my room. You guys are gonna get another parts video pretty soon. I'm just waiting on a couple more to come in, but it'll be sick. All right, to start, we got some distilled water, coolant, good stuff. That's half the motor from the drop top. So that's the bottom end. So that's the motor we're going to be pulling a lot of stuff from, mainly the crank. I'm not going to be using that block or piston or rod assembly, but the timing cover, the oil filter housing, oil pan, all that stuff we're going to be reusing. So that will be in the future. We're going to tear that down and start doing the full motor with it. The top end is in here. So there's the head. Cams on, all that good stuff. I will be pulling those cams off before we install the cylinder head onto the new motor, simply because ARP nuts are a lot easier to get onto the cylinder head and tightened and torqued properly if the cams are out of the way. I learned that doing the M50 motor build, so we're going to pull the cams off again, but they're just in there now for safekeeping basically. This is a box of stuff from the M50 build, if you guys remember that. All the parts we didn't use are back in that box basically. I have brand new ones for all of it. We got some jack stands. We got 4 jack stands. That's a ZF transmission, so that is going in that car. So that's the replacement. The one that came out of that car is in Little Wing for the manual swap, so I got a new one. That's a Getrag transmission right there. That transmission is going into the E30 motor, to the M50 that we rebuilt when we get that going. There's an M50 clutch. So that clutch came off of the 325, off of the motor that we rebuilt. I probably am not even going to use that clutch for the drift build because it's used and I don't know who used it last, and that's sort of my thing with clutches. Also, we're going to be beating the car, we're going to be drifting it, so I'd like to have a good new reliable clutch in there. So again, I don't know how old that clutch is, it's just here. So that was my smoke tester, but I started the car with it hooked up and it's just a little paint can, and the vacuum the engine generated just freaking crushed it like a soda can, so I'm definitely gonna have to get a new one. Up top is a fucking mess, I won't lie. Just tools and parts. So these are the rear spacers that came off of Little Wing. We got extended lugs. The engine mounts out of the drop top. I'm going to be getting poly mounts soon. That one is pretty good. Lug nuts, tools, brake pads off of Matrix, a car that I did here. I don't own that car. We got pulleys, nuts, bolts. This is all the Vanos gear for the drop top. We got timing gears, this is all Vanos stuff. The unit, cam gears, some motor oil, fuel pressure system tester. These are control arms off of a Hyundai that I did here. We got some OBD1 ignition coils. The old head gasket from the drop top. Again, more hardware, bunch of tools. Here's the automatic shifter boot, I guess you could call it, from Little Wing. Battery charger. This vent is going on Little Wing simply because this part right here on it is like broken, so I got a new one for that. Haven't thrown it in yet. We got some of the secondary air pump stuff, throttle body bracket for the traction control. We got an intake boot, wiring harness, tap and die kit. We got the Vanos tools right there. 1/2-inch impact, beautiful, C-clamps, other junk everywhere. It's just a giant mess of stuff basically. Toolbox. We got a serpentine belt kit, OBD2 reader, voltmeter. I got a spare nut and bolt set. That is like one of the most useful things to have, is just a little box of nuts and bolts that fit. Freaking dude, use it for so much. Then I got tools, sockets. We got some mist stuff, air ratchet. We got 2 of these guys in here. We use that for the manual swap. Elbow. Got a speed handle. I love speed handles. Speed handles are so much fun, but they're kind of hard to use when you're not doing motor stuff, specifically because they're kind of big, you know. But I rarely ever use that speed handle, but I love it when I use it. It's such an awesome, fun little tool. We're going to be using that like extensively when we do the motor build. It's going to be sick. Moving on, we got my torque wrench. Some other stuff. This is a drill. Starter box from Little Wing. Some other drills, good stuff. Car cover. My air compressor is tucked back there. Another box. We got my engine lift. I usually call it a cherry picker, but I got ripped by one of you guys for calling it a cherry picker because it's not a cherry picker, it's an engine lift, so my engine lift. That catback is from the sedan Little Wing. Because we have the straight pipe on it now, that is the mid pipe for the drop top. The catback for the drop top is somewhere else. And then we got another shelf full of junk. There's the heat shield from the drop top, a set of OBD1 ignition coils. That's the starter for the drop top. That's the alternator for the drop top. I'm probably gonna get a new one because it's old. We got poly trans mounts. I was gonna run that on Little Wing when we did the manual swap, but I read into it and that's a pretty bad idea, so it's just sitting there. I think we might throw it on the E30 build. We'll see. I got a bunch of mist stuff, chain tensioner, got a couple fuel injectors there. That is a fan motor off of an SN95 Mustang. My boy Alex has one. Some other fun stuff. Here's a upper chain tensioner, a set of OBD2 ignition coils, another set of OBD1 ignition coils. I guess I just collect ignition coils. Can never have too many. We got a bunch of stuff. We got some oil, ATF, this is coolant. We got some concentrated coolant. We got some manifold gaskets. I think this is a throttle body gasket. So this is from the head gasket kit when I did it on the drop top, but because I'm using an M50 manifold, I can't run any of those gaskets because they don't fit, so they just sit here. I got my fluids, got some cleaning stuff, detailing stuff. The factory taillights, these are off of the drop top, I believe. Another box of ignition coils. This is the factory stereo from the drop top, and then this is off of the 325. I believe I have an ECU back there. This is the back seat for the drop top, and then we got some other pulleys, some more wheel spacers. We got the upper cowl for the drop top. All that stuff's here. The plastic valve cover, the front radiator cover, the fan is back there. We got some trim pieces. We got a belt. I got new belts. I won't be running that. Here's the rest of the secondary air pump system. We got a cam cover back there. This is a window regulator because E36 life. Down here we got my creeper. We got a couple of shift assemblies. These are for the Getrag transmission. This is the one I tried to use on Little Wing, but it didn't fit because it's a ZF transmission, not a Getrag. It still has the DSSR rod on it. That's gonna go on the drop top. Here's another one. It's like my box of shit. An exhaust manifold down there. We got some more covers. That's a pedal assembly. We got the M50 manifold for the drop top. It's got the full conversion kit on it. We got some more exhaust manifolds. There's another exhaust manifold. This is garage cleaner. We got another M50 manifold. This is for the M50 B25 motor that we rebuilt. I kept that one. So it's got the fuel rail and injectors on there too. I got an old steering wheel cover that's pretty shit. We got a factory air box there, another factory air box. This is the front grill piece off of the lower bumper. So that part used to go like right here on that car. That came off pretty quickly when I hit that tire on the road, so I don't know if you guys remember that, but it knocked it out. It took my fucking license plate, my center trim, and both my fucking fog lights, and the goddamn center vent, dude. It fucked up his HIDs.
My brand new HIDs, man!
It was pretty sick. And then this is a fan shroud and the expansion tank. I have a new fan shroud for the car, so I'm not too worried about this one. This is the alternator off of the M50. There are parts down there from the first transmission swap that I did. Here's an extra backing plate. This goes between the transmission and the flywheel. I think this might actually be off of the drop top. I got some old hoses and an old Z3M radiator. A lot of the parts that I have down here I've just sort of collected, and I don't know if I'm going to use any of them. This radiator we're not going to use, the hoses we're not going to use. I might get a new alternator, and then I have a bunch of exhaust manifolds, but I got to figure out which ones that are actually usable because some of them have broken studs and that suck. Moving on into the next room, we have the beautiful M50 B25 that we did a full rebuild on. It's upside down right now. So that motor is almost finished. I need to get, or actually have a new Jesus bolt for that. We need to get an E34 oil pan for it still. And then the oil pump is not in there, but the chain is. I have all the gaskets and stuff to put it together, and I have the oil pump, I just don't have the oil pan yet, and I'm really lazy and I need to find one, so. As far as that motor goes, it's basically just sitting here right now. Until I get the drop top running, I've been banned from buying another car, so as soon as that drop top runs, we're gonna get the E30 chassis, and then that thing's gonna go in it. Alright, so that's my garage. It's really freaking messy and there's shit everywhere. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want me to do a full toolbox breakdown of all the tools I have, all that stuff. If you guys want me to, I will, so you can know sort of the tools that I use to get these builds done. Thank you guys so much for watching. Keep it fresh, and I will see you guys later.